Our today's class topic is Docker volume with hands-on. First, we will give you the overview of today's class, then I will show you the explanation with hands-on. So before I start the video, just a quick reminder, you haven't subscribed the channel, subscribe the channel, because after complete the DevOps course, I will also create cloud and DevOps related video that will help your career. So don't forget to subscribe and like the channel. So what is Docker volume? Firstly, we'll explain what is Docker volume. Then we'll tell you what type of Docker volumes is available. Then we'll show a hands-on demo. Then we'll do the hands-on. We'll create steps to create a volume. We'll verify that volume. Then we'll run nginx volumes, nginx container by this created volume. We have to run that command, and this is the volume level. Then we'll like a copy file, create an HTML file locally. Then open a browser and see that file which are available volume. Then in step 5 we will stop and remove the container by that command. So run a new container using the same volume. So same volume we run a container. So here is a mismatch, it should be a Docker. By same volume we can run another container, and the HTML concept contents persist even though the old container is gone. So our data is persisted. So there you show the like bind mount demo. First we create a folder in your local PC, then we do some steps, then we'll discuss how to clean your Docker volume. So this command will delete and clean your Docker volume. So what a volume command we are using in this demo, I put that command. So docker volume create, it will create a docker volume ls, it will show all volume list. Then we can inspect, we can, if you want to see that volume details, we can run that command docker volume inspect and delete that docker volume. We will run docker volume rn, then the volume name, and docker rum volume, use the named volume if we run the container with that volume. So while you're using Docker, that thing I put it here. So now go to the control panel and we'll explain everything step by step. What is the Docker volume? So normally when we create a container, so when I stop and delete the container, the data will be lost. So for this scenario, we like overcome the situation, we are using basically volume. So when we are using volume, then data will be stored permanently. So here, like I put an example here, a Docker volume is a persistent storage mechanism used to save data generated by use by Docker container. So when any we put any data to in the Docker container, the data will be persisted if we use the like volume. So when we like stop or remove the container, data will be still alive. So like there is like 3 types of basically volume. So one is like a volume, so which is managed by Docker, and Docker is recommended to use that one. Another one is bind mount. This is like we use the hosted path and show the container that location, then the container data will be stored there. And another is like TMFS, which is memory, which is normally non-persistent, which is normally we use. So when you delete the container, the data will be lost. So let me show you example, then you can understand how can you use the volume. So for creating a volume, we can use docker volume create command and the volume name and docker volume ls. You can see the volume we created. So in my let me so from device PC, so this PC have not that much data. So docker volume ls, if we type, you can see there is no volume. So docker volume create, just give it name vol1. So docker volume ls, we can see the volume, and if we want to inspect that volume, we can see the volume details. So docker volume inspect vol1. So here are the details of the volume. So driver is local, and the main thing is this volume is located in this location. So if you want to see this location, we can go there and we can see the file. So let me create a file. Like just before creating a file, let me create a container. You can understand. So like here I put an example like docker run. I put a nginx image and I use this volume there. Okay, so this is the nginx default file location and the container name is this. Okay, so like if I run the command, so let me copy this one, stop typing, then it will make less time. So the docker run, then minus d is the details mode and the name we put nginx demo, then minus p is the host part and the container part, minus v is the volume name. So we put volume name here is vol1, so to change this one, vol-1, and this is the nginx default file location and this is the image name. So if I run the command, you can see the container is running and is running it 8081 port. Now if you want to see this file, let me grab the IP. Also this is like AWS EC2 IP, so let me grab the IP. So this is the IP of this. Let me copy this one and paste it here. So we are running it 8081 port. So if we type this one, we can see the basically nginx default website. Okay, so this is the location where the file is coming, user nginx index is table, then an index. So let me inside the docker container, docker exec minus it. One thing if there is less container, you can just put the C8 or anything which is identical. So if you type C8, it's also working. Then so we are inside the docker container, so we need to go to these locations. This is the nginx default file location. So cd user share nginx, then html. So here is the basically this index file is coming. So the ls is not working here, so ls this index file is coming. If you want to see this file cat index, you can see this is the index default page. So let me edit this file, text.html, and welcome DevOps, Control C, cat index. So now if we browse this page, we can see the message. So refresh the page, so we can see the message is there showing properly. Okay, now let me exit from this container. So docker ps. So if we want to stop and delete the container, the data should be lost, but here we use volume, so our data will be persistent, so our data will be still alive. So for removing the docker container, we can also use docker rm. If I stop and remove, I can use -f, then it will forcefully stop and remove. So docker ps minus a, you can see no container is running. So before I was telling where the data is basically stored. So let me open the volume, docker volume ls. So our volume name is vol-1. So docker volume inspect vol1. So our data is basically located here, but for going this location, you need to request root permission. So sudo su, you can inside the file var lib docker volume. So let me enter now. So we can see there is vol1. So cd vol. So if we have multiple volume, all volume will be there. So now here is an underscore data is a folder. So under this folder all data is be stored. So if I cd underscore data, we can see the file. Okay, yes. So now if I get index file, you can see that file. Okay, so here is basically our file is located. Let me exit from the root. Now docker ps no container is running. Now we run the same container again and make sure our volume name should be same, that vol1. So if I copy the same file again, so volume name is vol-1, and this time I just give the name of this container is demo2. So docker ps, you can see the container is running, and these are also showing the same data. If you browse, you can see the data should be same. You can see, refresh, you see same data is showing. So this way basically we can persist our docker container data. Okay, so let me show another command, docker yes. So docker volume ls, so our volume is showing. So docker volume rm, and the volume name is vol-1. Then that volume will be removed, but we are not able to do this because this volume is already used in another container. That's why we are getting this message. So for doing this, at first we need to stop and remove the container, then we can basically remove the volume. So docker ps docker rm minus f, our container name is 6e. So docker ps minus a, we can see no container is running now. So now if I run the same command again, docker volume rm, our volume name was vol-1. I think now we can remove the volume, and you can see the volume is deleted. So docker volume ls, so you can see no volume is there. So these are basically you can persist our data. So this is the another way we can also, this is like volume mounts, and this is managed by Docker. There is another way, bind mount. Bind mount is like we can create a folder and we can share this folder as a container, in the container basically. So this step I didn't put here, so I just want to show the easiest way to use the volume. So this is the steps to use this volume. So if we want to see the volume, I can also, let me show the example also. So for using bind mount, we need to make a folder in your directory. So make a folder mkdir ddd. So this is the folder where our data will be stored. So for using bind mount, let me run a container. So docker run, then make it like a background mode, then we put a name, just give it a1. So docker run name, then we need to add one command mount, then type this is bind mount type, so we need to make sure bind mount, then make comma, then we need to make the source is o or ce source. So we need to make sure mention the where the source is. So our source should be like, we create a folder, that folder, so we create a dd folder, so it should be home ubuntu, then ddd. Okay, this is the source, then no space should be put. So destination So destination where the data should be mounted, the name. So like if I put here data or anything, I can put it here. So when you create the container, there will be folder that is mounted, the name, data. Okay, now we are using the image, so use CentOS 7 version. So CentOS is not there, that's why it will downloading the image. So after downloading the image, is create the container. So Docker PS, you can see the container. So Docker C minus IT. Then like when you're using this number, if this number is identical, then you can use anything. Like in this container nothing is running, so if I put 3, it is also working. If I put 3b, then it's also working. But if there is any other container who's starting with 3b9, then it will not working. So something need to be identical. So here is only one container running, so if I put 3, it's also working. So I want to show this thing. So if I put docker exe, then the container name or container ID, then what happened? Maybe some networking issue. So container name, then the bash name. So we are inside the container. If I type ls, then you can see there is a data folder. So if I df-h, you can see also data is mounted. Okay, so now if I put any file in that folder, let me create a file cat, then data, then a.txt, like DevOps, Ctrl+C, cat, data, A, you can see the file. Okay, now let me exit from this container and delete the container. So docker ps, so we already know when we stop and delete any container, then the container will be deleted. So for stopping and deleting, we can use together, it is a command -4f, then this container will be deleted. So docker rm is the command for remove the container. So if I use -f, then the container name or container ID, then it will forcefully delete it. So it will stop first forcefully, then it will be deleted. The docker ps, so no container is running. If I want to see also -a, you can see the like no running or stopping container is there. So let me open that file. So there is a folder is ddd. So cat, let me ls first, ls dd. You can see the a file is there. So if we want to show this file cat, then a.txt, so we can see the file is there, so which is stored in a folder. So if I create another file, so this is the advantage, so we can share our local PC with the container. So like if I create another file like echo welcome, then so where is the file? Let me, it's still there. So go, then b.text. So if I see the file, the file is there b.text, and make sure also like you want to see the file, there is 2 files. So I add another file in my local storage. So if I run the command again, so like docker this command is there, so we just put the name is different, so a2, so bind mount, so okay, so same location you are mounting, so docker ps, you see container is running, so 6 bin bash, so you can see A and B both file is there. So if we want to see the file, DevOps and B, we can see both file is there. So basically this way we can also persist our data. Also we can like share our local file to the container. So this is the volume section for the Docker. So that's all for the video. So I think this video will helpful for you. So if you found this video is helpful, then please subscribe and like the video. So next video I will discuss Docker networking. So up to that time, best of luck.